Hello, hello. Hi, Shahan.
Hi, Dana.
Hi.
Hi.
It looks like we're kind of related from a distance.
Yes, yes, neighbors. I'm in Tagamar too.
How funny. Such a small, small world. My goodness.
Allah,
Yeah.
crazy.
Are you back in Beirut or are you still here?
I just arrived just now.
Alhamdulillah, salama.
Allah يسلمك. Thank you.
All right, let's get started. It's 12:01. The rest of the ladies will trickle in. Today we are talking about the most major non-food toxin that affects your health and your hormones and creates inflammation and can create disease in the body exactly as dangerously and as strongly as anything you eat or drink. And that is anything that you put on your skin. All your skin products, anything you put on your face, anything you put on your scalp, anything you put on your body, anything you spray on your body, we call these the non-food toxins. So I'm going to keep reminding you, what are the sources of inflammation in your body? And the sources of inflammation mean anything that can trigger inflammation, that can trigger a disease. So don't take this lightly. These are just as detrimental to your health as alcohol, as processed foods, as processed sugar, as seed oils. They are just as bad, maybe even a little bit worse, because when you ingest seed oils or alcohol or processed foods or processed sugars, you have to digest them. So your digestive system actually, it's like a barrier, like it has to break it down and process it, and the liver has to filter it a bit. So there's a bit of a mediator between when you eat and when these foods affect your body. Anything you put on your skin is instant. Within 26 seconds, it goes straight through into your bloodstream. So this is why we have to talk about this. Everything you eat, everything you drink, everything you breathe in the air, everything you put on your skin, and your emotions. These are the 5 triggers of disease. It's not enough to just eat and drink healthy. It's not enough, and there's also movement. Sorry, 6. It's not enough to just move and not change how you eat. It's not enough to eat without switching out your products. It's not enough to switch out your products and eat well and move if you never process your emotions and they become toxic inside you. So we've covered the food sources of toxicity. We're going to cover the emotional aspect next week. I can't do anything about the air. One of the best things you can do is to maybe get an air filter, but definitely what is in your power and in your control today, if you choose to, is the chemicals in your skin products. Most of us don't think of our skin as an organ. It's just our skin. You think of your heart as an organ, you think of your lungs as an organ, you think of your eyes as an organ, maybe, but your skin is actually your largest organ. If you just take a moment and think about how much surface space it covers all over your body, regardless of your actual height or size, it is your largest organ. And in the same exact way that you have cells in all your other organs that need to be fed certain nutrients and can become deficient in certain nutrients, the cells in your skin as an organ function and have the same exact needs as all the other cells in your ovaries, in your uterus, in your thyroid, in your liver, in your stomach, in your lungs, the exact same way. The main difference when it comes to skin, though, is we don't think of it as a vital organ. So if your skin starts to, the way that skin malfunctions is it starts to look a little bit droopy or it starts to look a little bit dull. That's not life-threatening. So we don't worry unless, of course, there's issues, with skin and skin cancer and things like that. But your day-to-day, nobody's worried that your skin might really be a big factor in how you move forward, how you age, but it is. And then your body in particular doesn't really prioritize your skin when it comes to nutrients, because your other organs like your heart and your liver and your lungs and your ovaries, you really need those to function every day. You don't really need your skin, not in the same way that you need your liver, let's say, in your ovaries. You definitely need your skin for vitamin D. We'll get to that. But If your skin is a little bit malnourished, it's not going to affect your energy. It's not going to affect your period. It's not going to affect if you develop a chronic condition. So when you're eating and your body has to prioritize where to, it has to, depending on what you're eating, the body has to say, right, I'm going to give some nutrients to the heart. I'm going to give some nutrients to the liver. I'm going to give some nutrients to the ovaries. It has to be able to spread out your nutrients evenly as much as possible across all your organs so that the cells of each organ can function optimally. So what happens when you're eating nutritionally deficient food that at its core doesn't even have enough nutrients for your essential organs? Let's go back to before the program. If you were waking up and having bread and cheese and coffee and you're, having pasta and you're eating processed foods and you're having seed oils, you're not having enough fruits and vegetables. You wake up in the morning and you have your basic standard breakfast, very low in nutrients, but the body has to, okay, here's what you're giving the body. It has to deal with what it's got. So it's going to prioritize this already very nutrient low meal, has to take whatever it can and prioritize the organs that need to keep you alive, like your heart, like your brain, like your lungs. By the time it distributes these nutrients to the organs that we need them to function first, there's very little to go to your skin. So nothing goes to your skin. And you do this meal by meal, day by day. Slowly, you might feel, and as all of you have, that's why you're here, something in your vital organs starts to malfunction. Something in your ovaries starts to malfunction. They're not getting the right nutrients. They're deficient. Your liver, your thyroid, your pancreas. At the same time, imagine to what extent these vital organs weren't getting enough nutrients, your skin was getting almost nothing, zero. But how does your skin start to show signs of weakness? How does it show signs of toxicity? How does it show signs of deficiency? It starts to look dull. You start to get wrinkles. It sort of pinches dehydration because none of these foods are hydrating. And then it starts to show up with what we call our signs of aging. The other thing that will show up on your skin are when your liver is weak. So your liver is strongly tied to your skin. If your liver is overburdened with all of the list of toxins that we keep talking about, and it can't jumpstart itself, and it's just not able to keep up with the intake of toxins through the regular channels, so through peeing, through pooping, through sweating, and then the toxins are going to your organs and there's just such an overload in your body, it's literally going to try and flush out of your skin. So acne, rashes, eczema, psoriasis, any kind of itching, any kind of peeling, any skin condition goes straight back to an overburdened liver. So your skin is not just this thing that we try to take care of and beautify and sort of how we face the world. It is an organ that is a reflection of what's happening inside you. So once you start to fill the body with the nutrient-dense foods, as you are now, and this is why some of you might notice a subtle change in your skin, or you might notice people complimenting you on your skin all of a sudden, is because when you're eating such nutrient-dense foods, there's no waste. When you have your smoothie, when you have an apple, when you have dates, when you have all of these vegetables, they're so densely packed with nutrients that when you consume them, the body is having a ball. It's like, oh my gosh, enough for the lungs, enough for the brain, enough for the ovaries, enough for the heart. And look, there's even all of this to give to the skin. So you're giving your skin, as well as all your organs, the live hydration. You're giving it the live enzymes, the live minerals, the live vitamins, the antioxidants in their most natural form. Skin conditions, from the smallest condition, which is, just looking a little bit dull, to the biggest ones that tell us the liver is overburdened, like eczema and psoriasis, are not a topical problem. It is an internal problem showing up on the surface. So the way to heal it is from the inside out. It's not about adding an extra chemical load through creams and potions and everything that the beauty industry pushes on us. Because every single beauty product, every single one, you name it, your cleanser, moisturizer, serum, specialized eye cream, specialized wrinkle cream, specialized pigmentation cream, your shampoo, your conditioner, your body wash, your body lotion, anything that you buy at any conventional drugstore or any large department store, from the most basic brands to the fanciest French brands, unless they are labeled so, and we're going to get into that, all contain highly toxic inflammatory ingredients that we call endocrine disruptors. Remember when we talked about in the hormone class, what's your endocrine system? It's the collection of organs that produces your hormones. So they don't just go in and upset your hormones. They actually go in and upset the factory of your hormones. It gets disrupted at the root level. So like I said, when you put something on your skin, 26 seconds, it's absorbed into your skin, faster than when you eat an inflammatory food. But of course, it's a billion-dollar industry. They prey on women's insecurities. They prey on, they've created this culture where women are always comparing themselves to other women. And if you don't look a certain way, which is what they have decided, which is what you see in the glossy magazines and then the ads, if you don't look like that, then there's something wrong with you. But don't worry, if you don't look like that, here, we have a 7-step plan for you to use every morning and every night so that you can look like that. And if that wasn't bad enough, of course, now in the past few years, we've seen the Botox, the fillers, the injections, all of which are poisonous chemicals. You don't just expect to inject your head with Botox and not have that infiltrate your brain. Why are we seeing Alzheimer's, dementia, brain cancers, brain tumors? You're literally injecting a poison into your head with Botox, or you're injecting it with hair dyes, or you're injecting it daily with the chemicals from your creams. This is not something to be taken lightly. Having said that, we all love our routines. We all love the self-care. We all love the feeling we get when we wake up in the morning and we wash our face and we use all our beautiful products. So it's not about not doing that anymore. It's not about not taking care of your skin. It's not about not using products. It's about, as with everything else, becoming incredibly aware of the quality of the products that you're using and switching them out for better ones, healthier ones, ones that are not problematic or dangerous or toxic or poisonous. So in your guide, you're going to see, I've included 2 things, a list of all the major, I didn't put a comprehensive list because there's so many, but the major toxic chemicals that you can find in all of your products, including your husband's, including your kids. So I want you to go and check all of those. And go and check the list in the guide against the products that you have, so you can see to what extent, obviously without knowing, you have been ingesting through your skin toxins and toxicity. So that's the first thing I want you to do. The second thing that if you feel you're ready to, because so what am I going to do now then? If you took away my cleansers, you took away all my stuff, so what do? I've included a very simple natural cleansing routine also in your guide, which is the oil cleansing method, which is sort of like the most ancient method we have for cleaning our face. And it just involves using oil, basically castor oil. You have the instructions in there. I just want to say that if you don't feel like you are ready to add another step, because some of you are still, getting into the habit of your morning juice, of your celery, of cooking, of getting into that new rhythm in your kitchen. So this is not something I need you to apply right now at all. It's there for you when you know that your new way of eating has become your new normal, and it's so easy and effortless for you to implement this new way of eating. Then bring this piece in and start applying it. It took me about 1.5 years after I became a health coach, after I switched out how I ate, in order for me to switch my eating. If some of you have been following me long enough, you know that I had horrible, horrible acne ever since I was 15. And it stayed with me until I was 40. And between 15 and 40, I tried every single medication. I tried every single procedure. I tried every single cream. I used to wear thick foundation every single day to hide the cystic acne that would just continuously be flaring up, and then to hide all the scars that used to, be left over. And nobody, and from 15 to 40, every single dermatologist I went to, whether in Egypt, whether in England, whether in Toronto, and I lived in Toronto, not one ever told me anything about nutrition. Not one. So I did the procedures, I did Fraxel laser, I did green, horrible acidic peels, you name it. And they would work for like a few months, and then the acne would flare up again. And then finally, when I became a health coach and I learned about this, it took about 6 months for the flare-ups to stop. So 6 months for me not to see a new pimple appear. And I just couldn't believe why nobody had told me this before. But I was still using also all of my conventional products that weren't working. But I just felt like I was too attached to them and I wasn't ready to let go, even though they weren't working, which really shows you to what extent we can be hanging on to things just because, even though they're not serving us. And I continued to use my conventional products that weren't working. After the 6 months, I would still get a flare here and there. But I was too afraid. I said, well, even though they're not working, how do I know that the natural ones will work? And then because I understood what the process would be if I stop. So when you stop conventional products, if you have, horrible acne, there's going to be a purge. So, in the same way, when you change how you eat and you have a pre-existing condition, let's say you have joint pain, let's say you have period pains, let's say you have fibromyalgia, whatever it is, you know that in order for you to overcome that, there has to be a healing crisis where that condition or those symptoms become worse before they get better. So I knew that if I was going to let my skin finally purge from the conventional chemical products, I would have to go through a healing crisis where the acne would flare up again. And I was I didn't want to be seen in public like that. I hated my acne. So just out of pure coincidence, I in the middle of all this, I moved to Toronto. This was 2013. And I said, you know what, if I'm ever going to do this, it's going to be now. I don't know anybody here. I don't see anybody here. And one of my teachers at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, where I became certified as a health coach, we have many mentors who teach us there. One of them happened to be giving a lecture in Toronto when I arrived, 2 months after I arrived. And I was so excited to go listen to him in person. And I went to listen to him talk, and one of his friends, when I think about it, it's all such luck that this literally landed in my lap. One of his friends was Nadine Artemis, who is a brilliant, brilliant essential oil specialist. And she had created her own product, her own blends for botanical skincare. And so she gave a little talk that day. And then in the intermission between the talks, she was selling her products backstage in the theater. So I'm like, okay, this is a sign. So I went to her and she looked at my face and she said, okay, here's what we need to do. You need this, 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 and this. And she gave me the set of essential oils for acne. And this was in November. And so I went home. I was like, this is a sign. I'm just going to do it. I threw away everything. And when I say I used to use everything, I used to use everything you can imagine, every single acne product you can imagine. I threw it all away and I'm like, clean start. Let's do this. And from November to April, that's how long it took. My face was just purging, purging, purging. And I quite nearly gave up because it was so bad. I was like, okay, this is just making it worse. And it's always in that moment, right? When you want to give up, which is sort of the breakdown right before the breakthrough. And right when I was thinking that, 3 days later, it all cleared up. And I went on then to learn from her, to take a skincare course from her. I'm still using her products since 2013. And since 2013 and clearing up my face, I have stopped using any makeup. I don't need to use any foundation on my face. The only time I'll put foundation on my face is if I have a major occasion like a wedding, which happens once every 5 years. I have stopped needing to cover up my acne. I have not had a single acne flare up. Even now, if I go and have something that could potentially cause a flare up, I've settled my gut. It just doesn't happen anymore. And that feeling is so freeing, not to have to depend on something to cover up your face. All I do now is she recently created, she only does skincare. She doesn't really have a lot of makeup, but a couple of years ago, she created a natural mascara. So that's what I use every day. if I have a session with you or if I'm going out. If I'm not, I use nothing. And it has been so, so, so liberating. I can't tell you, to feel confident in my skin, to feel like I don't have to follow trends, to feel like I'm not a slave to the beauty industry. My husband used to always make fun of me when we travel, because anytime we used to go anywhere before, like pre-health coaching days, I would just basically go straight to the beauty department, in any huge department store. And he's like, then I watch you walk in and I just see like you become possessed. I just want to go for the makeup and the perfume and try this and buy this and the latest thing. Now, when I walk through these beauty zones in a big department store, all I can think of is, you criminals. It might seem extreme, but when you actually understand what's in these products, there is only one label for them, which is criminals. Whether that's the perfume, whether that's the makeup, whether that's the skincare, whether that's any of the artificial, superficial stuff that they're trying to sell you. We want to look good. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not vain for wanting to look good, but you have to understand the dangers there. We're not all just becoming sick because we're sitting at home eating natural food and doing all the things. Everybody's doing at least 3 or 4 of the 5 things I told you about. Everybody's eating and drinking inflammatory foods. Everybody's breathing in the polluted air. Everybody's using and applying on their skin, from children to adults, all the products that are full of chemicals. Everybody's stressed and not processing their emotions. I think the one thing I see most people do correctly is movement. So a lot of people understand the importance of movement and will work out and go to the gym, but the other things, no. I see people who work out 6 days a week, drink the whey protein and the fake protein powders and go to the gym in full on makeup. When they're done with the gym, use all the products and all the skincare and then finish and go have a protein shake. So there isn't enough awareness around this one just yet. I definitely see the awareness around food. I've been doing this for 12, 13 years now. So I see the awareness around food and I see the demand for certain types of food, especially here in Egypt. But when it comes to skincare, when it comes to how we look, the beauty industry has such a hold on women's psyches, on women's insecurities, that this is a really tough one for women to let go of. And it's something that it's an internal dialogue you have to have with yourself. It's an internal, probably, struggle you're going to have to overcome with yourself. And you just have to ask yourself at one point, is it worth it? Is it worth risking liver damage, hormonal damage, cancer? All of these chemicals are cancerous, carcinogenic. Is it worth it when you can remove them, still have a beauty routine that makes you feel good and allows your natural glow and your natural beauty to come through? Is it worth it, as with everything else, to follow the crowd with all the risks that brings, or not? I will leave that up to you to decide. So you have the oil cleansing method in your guide. What I want, and I said you don't need to do that now if you feel like your new way of living is still not quite second nature. We want that to be second nature first. But what I would like you to do definitely in the next week is to go and look at all of your products. Obviously, some of you here have done this process with me before, but go and look at all of your products and look at the labels on your products. And just for being aware, don't get scared. We're not doing this to scare you. It's not about making you panic. You've been using them all this time. Now you've got the awareness. At some point, you'll let go of them. So it's not about scaring you. It's about you empowering you to understand what you're putting on your body. So look at the list of ingredients. And then if you're not sure, so if you look at the list in the guide and then you compare it to what's actually on the back of your product and you're not sure if your product measures up to being safe or not, take a picture of it and then put it on the group and I can help you. Because even though the beauty industry has such a strong hold and is completely dominating and monopolizing what we put on our skin, there is a little bit of pressure on them. And you might have noticed where they're starting to say, on some of their labels, all natural, I don't know what, using only lavender essential oil or something like that. And if you're not savvy enough to understand what the labels mean, and they know that most people are not. When you actually look at the label, you're going to see that they still have the major inflammatory ingredients. And then at the very end, they'll say lavender essential oil or shea butter or coconut oil. And and so they're not lying. They've included lavender oil or coconut oil in their product, and then they're just using that to market the product as a little bit better for you than some of their other products. It doesn't mean it's good for you. It doesn't mean it's not going to harm you. It means they've just thought of a better creative way to sell a product. So look at those lists of ingredients, and typically with labels, same as with food labels, the first ingredient you find is the one that is the dominant ingredient. And then every other ingredient after that is in lesser qualities. So if you find all of the chemicals listed in your guide, and then at the very end, you're going to see coconut oil, lavender essential oil, something, you know that they're just trace amounts. If the product truly was a safe, natural, clean product, you would find those products listed at the beginning. You'd find the essential oils at the beginning, the coconut oil at the beginning, the shea butter at the beginning. And then if they've truly made an effort to clean up this product, you might find one or two of those ingredients listed at the end. So those would be the trace ingredients. Here's the thing. The products that I'm using from Nadine Artemis Living Libations so far, and there's one other brand, are the purest product that I have found in the world. There might be others, but these are the two that I have found. Everything else is a combination. And the truth is, the same way that you are never going to be 100% eating non-inflammatory foods, it's not possible. I don't eat 100% non-inflammatory foods 100% of the time. I could do it for 90% of the time. I can do it for 95% of the time, but I get invited out. I travel. So I can never say that I'm 100% on this track 100% of the time. So the same way that you're not that way with your food, it gives you, when you start to look at these ingredients, when you start to look at other products, don't drive yourself crazy if the product that is available to you and sustainable to you in terms of availability and cost might have one or two at a lesser degree of these ingredients. That is going to be much better and steps ahead of whatever it is you're currently using. So don't let this information overwhelm you. It is a step-by-step process. And the first thing for you to do is just to gain awareness around what you're currently using. Hang on, we have a little question. Can you say the names again of the natural brand? So Living Libations is the one that I use. And then tag me in the group, Iman. I'll put them in the group. And then these should also be, maybe not. I think I'll also link these in your shopping resources. You have the local ones. I've linked them in your shopping resources. And I think I've also linked the international ones. So they're Living Libations. This is the most natural, but Living Libations is a small Canadian company. You can only buy their products online. With our devaluation in Egypt, it has been, I have to say, challenging to continue to use these products because I can't ship them to Egypt because they're going to come in, you're going to pay a lot of customs. So whenever somebody's coming back, they get them for me. Or there is a shop in England, an online shop in England that also stocks them. I have prioritized this for myself. So I've had to sort of shift. I've had to use less, not just use them like pour the oils the way that I used to. So that's one. The other one is called Anne Marie Gianni, and I think she's also linked, but I'll put her in the group. And those are the only two in terms of skincare that are guaranteed. They're only made with essential oils. The local ones you'll find here. So there's Meraki Natural Skincare. There is Black Lotus has skincare. Joviality. These are mostly essential oils. So when you look at their list of ingredients, I use their shower gel. Sometimes I use their shampoos, deodorants. Deodorant is a really important one also. You might find at the end, so they're not the dominant ingredient. You might find at the end one of the ingredients that's not optimally healthy, but that's okay because it's not about being perfect 100% of the time. So those are listed in your guide. And like I said, you don't even need to go and buy any brands if you don't want to. The oil cleansing method that I've outlined in your guide uses castor oil, and only castor oil. So if you never want to spend any money on any skin oil again or skin brand again, all you need is the castor oil. It is incredibly effective. And castor oil, some of you have already used it for, digestive issues, for cramps, for things like that. It has many, many uses, and one of them is to help your face, clean your face naturally and help give it a glow. So all you would need to do is follow the oil cleansing method. If you don't need to think about, going and buying something and what brand should I buy and what should I experiment with, remove all of that pressure. Those are options, but if you don't want the pressure of these options, castor oil cleansing method on repeat, done. That's all you need. Me too, Jehan. I love it. Any questions, ladies? If you want to see my skin, I call it my skin saga. Go to my Instagram account, and in the highlights, it's the first highlight in my Instagram account. And I show sort of the before and after pictures, and I talk about the process that I went through. No questions, ladies?
Dana, can we go through the cleansing method? I know that last time you explained it, but I would really appreciate
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. So what you need is the castor oil, and you need a washcloth, and that's it. And you need your sink. So you're going to go to your sink. You're going to turn on the hot water to the hottest that it can be without where you can still manage it, where it's not scorching. Okay. And while the water is heating up, take a nice amount of castor oil. If you wear makeup, so let's say you're used to wearing foundation, eye makeup, all of that, I would use a cotton ball and some coconut oil just to remove the makeup first. If you don't, if your face is already makeup free, then go straight into the castor oil. So while the water is heating up, take a nice amount of castor oil and massage it everywhere. You want a nice layer, thick, sticky layer of the castor oil, massage it in for a couple of minutes and leave it. And then take your washcloth and put it underneath the hot water. And you'll know if it's too hot if you can't put your hand in there, but it needs to be, there's a fine line, like just hot enough, but not too hot that you can't put your hand underneath it. Soak the entire washcloth and then wring it out so there's no water dripping from it. And then in sections, you're just going to place the washcloth on your face like this. And just by doing that, the heat and the washcloth will pull the castor oil off your face. You just go like this and it would have pulled it off. And you can probably do it on another section and pull it off. And then rinse it out again, wring it out, and keep doing that in sections all over your face until the stickiness of the castor oil has been removed. For some of these areas, you might actually just have to wipe it off. Like it won't be enough just to go like this. You might have to wipe it off here. Don't put it on your eyelids, and you can probably just manage it like just around here on your eyes. So for these areas, you might need to gently wipe it away, gently wipe it away from here, and that's it. And you're done. Go to sleep. And you can do that in the morning as well. You don't need to apply any other product after that. You don't need to apply a serum. You don't need to apply a moisturizer. The castor oil is sort of a 3-in-1. It's a cleanser, moisturizer, as well as serum altogether. There are a few oil combinations in the detox guide depending on your skin type. I don't know these off the top of my head. So go inside your detox guide and it will tell you, like for older, more mature skin, use a mix of, it's either jojoba or almond, something like that. You have those in there. So if you don't need to right away, if you just want to start off with straight castor oil, you can, and then bring these mixes in later. You can do it morning and night. Some women in the morning, they feel, especially if they have work, they feel like it might be, especially at the beginning when their skin is not used to it, it might be a little bit too sticky. The stickiness, it might take a little bit of time to completely dissolve. So they just don't feel like it's that practical for in the morning. In that case, I would say a simple wipe of your face with just water in the morning will work. But technically, yes, you can do it morning and night. And once your face becomes adapted to it, you can also do it in the morning and the stickiness will dissolve much faster and you can leave the house without it being obvious or bothering you. but at least once a day at night. Did that help, Iman?
Yes, very much. Thank you.
Good. Again, it's so simple. We go for all these really complicated things, and the simplest methods have always been, they've always been available to us. Nobody told us about them, right? And the simplest, most cost-effective, and especially castor oil in here, like in a country like Egypt, it's so abundant, and so accessible. And all you need is, a bottle of castor oil and a washcloth. And give yourself a month to 6 weeks if you don't have acne or something major. So if you just need, a glow, if you just need to feel like your skin is refreshed, if you need to feel like it just needs a little lift, that will happen from the castor oil. So for the eye area, technically, when you just apply from here, like you should never, there's something else that we sort of learned the wrong way. You should really never apply anything on your eyelids. So that's something I learned from Nadine Artemis when I did her skin course. So she has a specialized eye cream. And even with her eye cream, which is just essential oil, she says never apply anything directly on your eyelid. So even with her eye cream, she says you apply it underneath, and then you sort of swoop it over your eyebrows like this and massage it in that way. So theoretically then, the castor oil, you could do the same thing. Massage it in very lightly and just around, and stop applying anything on your eyelids, even if it's all natural. She says this area is so delicate, and when you think about it, it's so thin, it's so delicate, and so on top of your eye. So the most basic thing is, right, the essential oils can sting. Any kind of product can sting. So imagine if you're using a conventional product with all the chemicals and you're putting it right here, like basically you have access to all of your membranes. Think about your eyeball. Like it's just open. It's access straight to your from your eyeball straight into your brain. It's a very, very thin area and very easy access into the what we call the blood-brain barrier. So nothing is to go on there. Yeah. Sort of like your nostrils also. So this whole area right here, like this, and including here, and like this area like here, this sort of triangle, is very, very, I don't want to say sensitive, or dangerous, but it is. It's a part of your face that has straight access into your brain. So you have to be very careful what you're applying in this area. That's why Botox is so crazy dangerous. Where are you applying it? Right here, straight access to your brain. Botox is a poison. There's no other way around it. No matter what your dermatologist tells you, no matter what the marketing tells you, it is a poison. And then, even if it wasn't, when you take care of your body from the inside out, you won't need it. You won't feel that. This is the great thing about this, is that we feel like we need certain products, or mainstream makes us believe it, because we actually look at our face in the mirror and we believe what they're telling us because it's right there reflected. You see the dullness, you see the wrinkles, even though, wrinkles specifically, they are supposed to happen. We can definitely slow it down. We can definitely slow down how fast your face wrinkles, but you also believe them because they tell you, look, do you see the little wrinkles you have here? Do you see this? Do you see this? And you're like, yeah, I see it. So you believe them and you believe that information, and you go ahead and they get at your insecurity. But if they tell you, if they're throwing all these messages at you, but you're taking care of your skin from the inside out, and they say, you're 50 and you're starting to see lines, and you're like, yeah, I'm 50 and actually I don't see anything because I take care of myself. So that automatically gets to the root of the insecurity they're trying to build in you. So even if all of these things were not as dangerous as they are, imagine feeling like I don't even need them. And the empowering feeling behind that, and the strength and the confidence that you get from that. And that only happens, the confidence in your skin, that doesn't happen from topically. That doesn't happen from a 7-step skin routine. That happens only internally. So face yoga. So this is something I can't teach, but I recommend it. So I do face yoga and I also do gua sha. So I do one or the other at least once a day. So tag me in the group, Iman, and I can just share with you the ones that I've tried and I felt like they work. So definitely, I mean, you have muscles on your face, the same way you have muscles all over your body. And I think you have something like actually so many more muscles than you would imagine in your face. I'll need to look that up and share it, like in the tens and tens of muscles. Like you don't just have 2 muscles, 3 muscles. I think it's like 50 muscles in your face or something. And they need to be worked out just like any muscle. So yeah, it's a combination of feeding your skin cells from the inside out and then strengthening your face muscles the same way you're going to strengthen your biceps, your quads, any other muscle in the body. Yes. Please tag me in the group. I'll share that. Anything else today, ladies? Don't drive yourself nuts going into your bathroom or going into your makeup bag and looking at all the ingredients today and sort of panicking about it. The next few days is you just gaining awareness as to what, and you might not, some of you might find that you were lucky and you bought some products that weren't. And if you're not, then relax, right? This is a process. Healing is a journey. It took me a year and a half, right? And I was a health coach. I was on top of it. I didn't have really resistance. I was ready to jump in, ready to do everything. I was 100% convinced. And it still took me a year and a half to take this step. So some of you might be more ready than others, depending on, again, you're not all at the same place in your health journey. So some of you might be more ready than others to take this step. Some of you might feel like, you know what, let me still, and this is the priority right now. Let me focus on my nutrition. Let me focus on reversing my symptoms. Let me focus on, if that's a goal for you, getting off my medications. And then let me bring in the skincare piece. No glycerin. Tag me in the group, Jahan. I have an explanation for that, and I'll put it for you in the group. Also, no. At some point, the information is a lot, and I simply just cannot recall it off the top of my head. I can just tell you I know it's a no, and I will give you the information as to why it's a no.
Because I recently discovered, Yadana, that there is natural glycerin and petrochemical glycerin.
Yes.
So the one I'm asking about is the natural one. It's plant-based.
Let me see. Okay. Oh, here, I found. I can pull it up for you now. Glycerin. It's not how you spell it, then. Glycerin. Why is it not working for me? Okay, it's not, let me see. I can't pull it up from my notes. I will pull it up for you. But yeah, the problem is anytime you have a petrochemical version of, and when you're going to see all of these products in your all of these ingredients in your products, that's what they are. They're actually petrochemicals. So, and this is why they're problematic. Petrochemicals means it's derived from petrol, derived from oil. But I think with glycerin specifically, I think there was something else. Well, it was that hydrochloric acid, which is also another no. Let me pull that up for you and share it in the group, Jahan. But definitely, and let me see where you got that little piece of information also, so that I can compare it with the information that I have. Yeah, but it's the petrochemicals. All of these, when you go through the guide and you look at all of these ingredients, they are under the umbrella, all of them, of petrochemicals. So you're basically applying like Vaseline, right? Petroleum jelly. And we sort of all just accepted that it's called petroleum jelly. It comes from petroleum. But isn't it weird that nobody ever questioned that? And we all just used it and used it on our babies' butts and we used it on everything for moisture. It comes from petroleum. Everything else is the same without such glaring names. But when you look at the root names of these ingredients, they all have their root in petrochemicals. All right, ladies, if I've asked you to tag me something on the group so that I can share a link or information or something, please don't forget to do that. And I will see you all again here tomorrow, same time, same place. Please keep sharing your questions on the group. Please keep supporting each other. This is how we heal. You know, if you've ever heard the phrase, a rising tide lifts all boats. I think it's something like that. So when you're all working on this together, when you're all sharing your wins and your obstacles and your challenges and the process with each other, this is what helps to form the collective consciousness of healing, which is so much more incredibly powerful than you just trying to do it on your own. All right, ladies, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow, inshallah.